In a world where customers expect to engage with the organization 24/7 from all and any available channels, offering an employee experience is a key part of the digital transformation strategy of any organization. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Shehan Kumar, and I'm the Chief Executive Officer of the Federation of IT Industry. It's exciting. It's the second session of our follow-up series of the Digital Excellence Awards and Digital Leaders Conclave. We had an exciting first session a couple of weeks back, and we are really happy to have our second session today titled Proposition for a 360-degree Customer Engagement in a Digital Environment. We have an exciting panel of speakers. We have international speakers today as well. And so it's going to be an exciting session. Without further ado, I don't want to take much time, and I'm sure you're not here to listen to me. I'm going to invite our first speaker for this morning. That is Mr. Ben Turner, Technical Enablement Product Management Asia Pacific of Liferay Incorporated. Ben Turner is Liferay's Manager, Technical Enablement, responsible for ensuring that Liferay and its partners are technically enabled on the Liferay product portfolio. Based in Sydney, Australia, Ben has more than 25 years of experience in enterprise software, including 8 at Liferay. Ben specializes in bridging the divide between business and technology, possessing a deep knowledge of Liferay's capabilities, along with a genuine understanding of what this means to customers trying to solve real-world business problems. All right, so I would now like to invite Ben to talk on how a digital experience platform can help you provide exceptional CX, EX, and PX.
And I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So welcome, everybody. And thanks very much for this opportunity. Really excited to be able to present today to you all. And thanks, obviously, to all of you for joining and giving us your time. So yes, as you heard in the introduction, I've been in the enterprise software business for more than 25 years, and hopefully with this session, I'll be able to share some of the insights that I've gained over that 25-year period. Specifically, what I'm going to talk to you about today is how you can go about providing exceptional CX, EX, and PX using a digital experience platform. So by that, I'm talking about customer experience, employee experience, and partner experience. And I'll talk to you about how those things are really interlinked and how it is important that you don't just focus on customer experience. So I could have sort of had a second title for this presentation, which is why using a DXP can help enable you to solve not just your customer experience challenges, but also your partner experience challenges and your employee experience challenges. What I'm going to talk about today are 3 main topics. Firstly, I'm going to introduce what a digital experience platform is. That may not be a category of software that you're all familiar with. And so I'll talk about what they are and then explain how you can use a DXP to support delivering exceptional customer experience, employee experience, and partner experience. I'm also going to talk about how you can address multiple business challenges across multiple channels, or indeed any channel, using a single DXP at the same time in many cases. And then I'll also just sort of wrap up the session with talking about how you can use DXP-based personalization to further improve customer experience. But there's a little catch there. There's a little caution, only if you're careful. So let me get into the content straight away. So what is a digital experience platform? So this is Gartner's definition for what a DXP is. A digital experience platform is an integrated set of core technologies that support the composition, management, delivery, and optimization of contextualized digital experiences. And at that point, you're probably all going, huh? What does that mean? So let's break it down a little bit. Focusing on some of the key things, really, and this is an industry view, but also very much Liferay's view. We're really focused around an integrated set of technologies. That really is an important part of the overall story, being able to deliver all this functionality through a single set of very tightly integrated capabilities. And really what it's talking about is supporting the creation or composition, the management, the delivery, and then the optimization of those digital experiences. And by digital experiences, obviously, we're talking about web experiences, we're talking about mobile experiences, and more frequently nowadays, we start talking about experiences that may be through some non-traditional channels. So integrations or experiences delivered through, say, a chatbot or a voice assistant, or even at a digital kiosk somewhere, could all be considered a digital experience. And a DXP will enable you to build those experiences for all of those different channels. Liferay has a slightly different definition. We talk about it as being a category of enterprise software seeking to meet the needs of companies undergoing digital transformation. And the highlight there is our quote again: the ultimate goal of a DXP, certainly is Liferay's goal, it should be the goal of any other DXP vendor, is to provide better customer and employee, and I would argue partner, digital experiences. And all of those ultimately deliver better customer experience all round. So who are the leading vendors, or who are some of the leading vendors? This isn't an exhaustive list. Really, obviously everybody, I'm sure everybody on this call has heard of Adobe. I'm sure many of you have heard of Sitecore. A lot of you are probably Salesforce users, but probably fewer of you are familiar with Liferay. It's important when we start talking about DXP vendors to really understand that there's a mixed heritage in these vendors. They've come from different backgrounds, and really the concept of a digital experience platform and the market for digital experience platforms was something that was largely founded by the analysts in the last sort of 4 or 5 years. And really what they did is they looked at a number of different classes of software at the time, and they found that there was a lot of convergence. So what they've done is they've brought together vendors from a number of different backgrounds and grouped them as a single set of vendors. And that's important for you to understand, because the heritage or the background of where these vendors come from really talks to the strengths that they have and the areas of digital experience that they're specialized in. So, for example, Adobe and Sitecore, they both came from a CMS heritage. And what I mean by that is that their background was in delivering websites, delivering anonymous experiences, often with rich digital marketing capabilities, but not generally focused around integration with core systems, not focused around authenticated experiences, and therefore not necessarily ideally targeted at employee experiences or B2B experiences, very, very focused around the consumer space and the retail space. By contrast, you have an organization like Liferay. We come from a portal heritage, and the key strengths in the portal market, which are really very relevant today in the DXP space as well, are a real strong focus around authenticated users. Sure, we can deliver, and we've got many great examples of customers who are using Liferay for anonymous experiences for public websites and so on, but a real strong focus around being able to authenticate users into the system, understand who they are, and then deliver them complex, sophisticated applications that integrate to their core systems. And that very much lends itself to scenarios like customer self-service, employee experiences like intranets, supporting partners through partner portals, supporting suppliers through supplier interaction, supplier commerce, and those sorts of experiences. And then a third group, which is kind of a smaller group. I mean, clearly the leading vendor from that space was Salesforce. Is coming from that CRM heritage, and really the focus there again is around authenticated users, but most notably around employee experiences, and therefore not necessarily as capable, certainly in the early days, around building really engaging user experiences. So why is that important? Well, it really matters when you're starting to think about what it is that you're trying to achieve with a digital experience platform. You really need to be finding the vendor that is providing technology that is suitable for the business problem that you're trying to solve. So these are 2 quotes from Gartner that they've made over the years about Liferay. So specifically, Liferay shines when its technology is used to build highly customized experiences that incorporate external business applications. And that's very much always been the sweet spot of what Liferay can deliver. If you're talking about building a customer experience solution or a partner experience or an employee experience, you're almost always going to need to surface information into that application from other systems within your organization. If it's a banking application, you may need to integrate with the core banking system. You may need to integrate with your CRM system and expose information from that. So that integration capability is really important. And then another thing that Gartner has called out on many occasions is that our customers value our organic innovation, which contrasts with the innovation through acquisition approach taken by many of our competitors. Liferay's been in business for nearly 18 years. We are the only 11-time leader of Gartner's digital experience platform Magic Quadrant. And we have solely developed our platform organically. Everything that we've developed internally, we've developed specifically to to enable our customers to solve their business problems, to build out rich experiences. And it's just a caution to look at some of the other vendors and look at where their portfolio comes from, because almost all of them are made up of many acquisitions of many different products. And whilst they will definitely tell a strong story about how those products work together, there always has to be a little bit of a grain of doubt as to how well integrated, how tightly integrated all of those capabilities are. So moving on from the kind of introduction, I wanted to talk about how you can provide exceptional omni-channel customer experience, employee experience, and partner experience using a single DXP. And I wanted to do this by covering off some example use cases, and also talk about Liferay's premise, which is one platform, endless solutions. This is our marketing message that we've been using for the last couple of years. And really what it's talking about is the fact that we can solve so many different problems with a single digital experience platform across multiple channels. And for many of our customers, solving multiple problems at the same time with the same platform. So just going to go through a couple of our key verticals and some example use cases in those verticals. So starting with banking and financial services, obviously a very big market for us. It represents about a third of our customer base. And just some examples, these are from many countries, in fact. First one, I'm going to talk about this one a little bit more later on, because it really shouts out about why you can improve customer experience by improving employee experience. So this is an application built here in Australia for one of our banks, IMB. And this is focused around in-branch customer onboarding. And for some of you might be thinking, hey, we're in the digital age. Why are we worried about in-branch? Well, this particular customer has a really strong focus on the community and really focuses on not just their digital experiences through the web and through mobile apps, but also on the experiences that are gained by their customers in branch. Second example is closer to where you are all located. This is Federal Bank in India, and they've built an application that is essentially their customer website, but a lot more than just a website. By implementing this application, they were able to provide 5 times growth in the number of users of the site. The accessibility of information, the ease of getting access to the site is second to none with this new application. So very much focused around customer experience. The third and fourth examples are both, again, in the banking sector. Now we're talking more about wealth management or institutional banking. So the third example is a Swiss bank in Singapore. And they've implemented a platform that serves their employees, their wealth managers, and also their external relationship managers, so their partners. And this is a classic portal use case that provides all of the functions that a wealth manager or a relationship manager needs to enable them to do their job on a daily basis. So a single touch point with multiple integrations to the CRM system, to the core banking system, to the research environment for researching trades, to being able to actually execute trades, and through the whole life cycle of that application. So there's about 8 different systems incorporated in here. And then the final example from banking and financial services is in the US. This is an institutional trading platform servicing 40,000 institutional investors. So again, customer experience and partner experience being leveraged here within this application to deliver the complete cradle to grave experience, if you like, for interacting, for transacting, for booking meetings, and so on, for dealing with settlements and everything associated with that. Moving on, looking at telcos, telecommunications, another big market for us. And there's an example here. I've provided the URL for the first example. This is an organization called Zain, who are actually the first mobile provider in Kuwait. And they're using the Liferay application, including our commerce capabilities, as their storefront. And the reason I wanted to focus on this one is just to give you an opportunity at some point, hopefully not now while I'm presenting, but later on, you can actually have a look at that site. And one of the things that's interesting here is that the Liferay commerce capability was designed with all of the complexity of B2B and B2E commerce in mind. And that's important because B2B commerce platforms have traditionally been very unengaging. You can almost think of a spreadsheet type of situation where the way that you order product is by looking for the SKU, looking for the product ID, adding and almost essentially manually adding items that you want to this. We decided to build a commerce platform that had a consumer grade experience. And I'll talk about those in a little bit more later on as well. And Zane has actually implemented that as a consumer experience, as a B2C commerce platform. You can go out and have a look at some of the capabilities that Liferay Commerce can offer. Second example is Vodafone. This is Vodafone Business. This operates globally, and it services 1,500 business customers of Vodafone in 150 countries. The application or that partner community represents 30% of Vodafone's global revenue. So it's a very sophisticated customer portal servicing all of the business customers that Vodafone has globally. Third example is Sky in Brazil. And this is a great example of using a single DXP for multiple use cases. So they're using Liferay for their website, for their mobile application, for their customer portal, for their CMS. And you know, a great example of being able to benefit from using a single platform, a single set of content, surfacing through multiple channels. And then the final example as well is I didn't want to ignore intranets. You know, intranets are a really important use case for digital experience platforms. And we've been terming these modern intranets for a while to kind of reflect the fact that an intranet these days is much more visually engaging. It's much more interactive than the classic intranets of old. And then the final group of use cases I want to talk about very briefly is manufacturing. And again, this is a big area for Liferay. And a number of very different examples here. So the first one is Active. They're a global organization that builds auto parts. They've implemented a business intelligence portal for their employees. So for their 10,000 employees, again, using Liferay to get access information on production data. Conclave, again, in Brazil, there's another modern intranet. So servicing 23,000 employees across their infrastructure. The third example is Airbus Helicopters, so a very different type of business indeed. And this is a B2B customer portal providing access to all of their customers, their 24,000 users of the application to give them visibility of the products that they have available. And then the final example is Putzmeister, a global manufacturer of concrete and concrete manufacturing products. And they're servicing all of their partner community through an application built on Liferay. So as you can see, a wide array of different use cases, a wide array of different applications across different industries, all met with a single digital experience platform. The reason I kind of wanted to focus around EX and PX is that in order to deliver really exceptional customer experience, you can't forget employee experience. There's some great statistics here from Gartner that talk to the unnecessary employee effort that is often felt when the employee experience is not effective. And that, you know, the key one here I would say is that, you know, 64% believe that unnecessary effort prevents their company from delivering a higher quality customer experience. Because of course, many of the employee experiences are used in the context of customer self-service, customer service centers, call centers, and so on. And if those experiences are poor, then ultimately the customer experience is going to be poor. So really what we want to talk about is thinking about all of these things together, and I'm incorporating partner experience into this as well, and making these a force multiplier. Don't have each of these experiences impacting each other in a negative fashion, have them building and adding additional value. And to talk about that in a bit more, I'm going to go back to the example case study I mentioned a couple of screens back. IMB Bank is a regional Australian bank, and they had a challenge where their potential new customers were coming into branch and they were wanting to sign up, and the onboarding process was taking more than 20 minutes. So that's a customer standing at a desk waiting for an employee to finish all of the steps they need to do to onboard them, and that process taking more than 20 minutes. So their employees were using a green screen core banking system, the CRM system. They had to use another system to enable internet banking, and by building an application in Liferay to replace those 5 front ends, they were reducing that process down to 3 minutes. So massively enhancing both the customer experience by reducing that amount of time and the employee experience as well. You know, this is important as well because you have to consider that, you know, the modern employee is also a consumer, and today's employees demand what I term consumer grade experiences. And this is the example where, you know, on the left, we have the classic green screen terminal experience that a banking application provides, compared to the sort of experience that you can deliver through a digital experience platform. And in many ways, that applies equally to business customers in the B2B and the B2E worlds. There's no longer an expectation that the screen on the left is acceptable in B2B commerce or in B2B applications, because we're so used to interacting with digital experiences through our mobile devices and getting a really high quality, highly engaging experience as we do that. Okay, so you might be saying at this point, hey, look, there are dedicated systems, there are best of breed systems for customers, for partners, for employees. Why is a DXP better? And I wanted to talk about some stats. So this is actually one of Liferay's own sets of research. If that diagram looks like your organization, then you should probably think about a digital experience platform. This is kind of the spaghetti mess, if you like, the diagram that you'll see. And you can't possibly deliver successful digital transformation or a consistent experience to customers, employees, and partners with all of these different systems and all of the different front ends that they have in place. And really the key thing here is that, you know, the message 70% of digital transformations fail. That's astonishing in its own right, as is the number of money that can be spent on digital transformation, how much of it is actually wasted. But the really critical thing is, according to Forrester, the number one technical challenge facing digital experience leaders is inadequate integration with back-end systems. And as I said earlier, Liferay shines when our technology is used to build those systems that incorporate back-end systems. And another thing I wanted to touch on is where omnichannel comes in. With a Liferay application, with a digital experience platform sitting behind the example I used with customer onboarding, you're able to surface the same process, the same form across any number of different channels. And this is really important because to the customer, they want to interact with you through whatever device they're most comfortable with. To your back office processes, the information gathered is identical. It doesn't matter whether your customer onboarded through a physical terminal in a branch, through a browser in their home, through a native mobile app. What actually needs to get done at the back end of that is the same. And building that in a digital experience platform removes that spaghetti mess, if you like, of having multiple systems and multiple platforms. Okay, I wanted to talk finally about enhancing customer experience with personalization. So what is personalization? I think you've all come across it, but just to really quickly introduce it, it's about providing tailored experiences to customers based on what you know about them, where they are, what they've been doing previously, and so on. And really, this is kind of a cautionary tale, because a lot of times we focus around showing how clever we are, right? Showing people that we know them. But actually, what's really important is helping them. So there's these two flavors to personalization. And Gartner, again, has some great statistics on this, that actually, if you just show how clever you are, you're actually creating a worse experience. Your customers start to dislike you for that. It actually creates a negative benefit. But where you start helping them, you're able to really gain a massive benefit in providing personalization. So it's not just about saying, hey, hi, Ben, great to see that you're online today. And it's 4:30 in the afternoon in Australia. It's about saying, hey, Ben, we know that you looked at a number of different products in the last couple of weeks, but you didn't make any decisions. Can we put you in touch with an advisor who can help you make your selection process? Something that actually provides help. And in fact, it gets better because you can actually combine the two together. And when you prove that you know somebody, but you also help them, you get a gain further than that. So conscious that I'm really short on time, hopefully I've been able to give you a little bit of an insight. Obviously, with more time, we could certainly go a little bit deeper into this, but some key takeaways that I wanted to give you from the session today. The first thing is that, and it's really important, to deliver the most exceptional customer experience, you can't forget employee experience or partner experience, because most of the time, those employees, those partners are ultimately looking to serve your customers as well. And the better you can improve their experiences, the better your overall customer experience is going to get. Second key takeaways is that a DXP will provide the flexibility to solve multiple business problems. So a single DXP can solve multiple business problems to multiple audiences across multiple channels. And then finally, don't try and be too clever. When it comes to personalization, you really want to be shown to be helping your customers, not just showing them how much you know about them. And that was everything I had for today. So my contact details are there. Please feel free to reach out to me on LinkedIn.
Thanks so much, Ben, for that excellent presentation. So next we have a very interesting session. it's actually a case study. If you remember, if we go back a few months to the Digital Excellence Awards, Sampath Bank was one of our key winners on that night, right? So I would like to now invite our next speaker, who is actually Mr. Nuwan Vikramanayaka, Chief Manager Digital Banking of Sampath Bank PLC, to present his case on how Sampath Bank has successfully implemented these values and these strategies. Let me give you a small introduction to Nuwan. Nuwan holds an MBA in Management of Technology from the University of Moratuwa. He is a BSc graduate in Information Systems from the Manchester Metropolitan University in the UK. He's also a project management professional, a certified blockchain solutions architect, and a member of the British Computer Society. So I would like to now cordially invite Nuwan Vikramanayaka, Chief Manager Digital Banking of Sampath Bank PLC, to present his case on how Sampath Bank has been successful in this regard. Over to you, Nuwan.
Ivan, we have witnessed an acceleration of digital transformation during the last couple of years. People who were reluctant to purchase online now do online purchases frequently. People who earlier wanted to go to physical bank branches to open a fixed deposit now do it online easily. Of course, we can say the efforts being put by many banks to get people to practice digital have started realizing in the recent past. However, now the customer demand is building. As banks, are we ready? Let me thank FITIS and the FITIS committee for giving me this opportunity to present Sampath Bank's case today in this 360-degree customer engagement forum. During next 15 minutes, I will take you through some key aspects in omnichannel experience, including how Sampath Bank successfully implemented such environment. So Sampath Bank started the journey in 1987 with multi-channel environment. We had in 1987 the bank branch as well as the ATM as front-end channels for the customers. Then we started adding channels, bringing in a multi-channel environment where we had branch, ATM, then the online banking and mobile banking at very early stages. Later, we had integrations among these channels, the branch, ATM, web, mobile together. As an example, the customer could send money from the mobile phone to another customer who could withdraw the money from the ATM. So those were integrations on separate channels. But today, we are in an omni-channel environment. We have a total orchestration in a singular platform, put everything together. So when you look at the digital experience, we can start from the onboarding, where it may be a branch, as Ben also said, sometimes maybe customers still prefer to go to branches, but online banking and the wallet experience give easier or convenient onboarding experiences. Then after onboarding, on the transaction experience extended to ATMs, and still again, if major cash transactions happen, it's required to be done on branch. Cross-channel experience would be given through a omni-channel platform. Then to engage with the bank for the customers, in addition to the customer care center, maybe a hotline, a telephone line, the automated bots, chat bots, and a hotline balance inquiry platform we have today make the customer's life easy. If we take an example, actually from a customer's testimony, a customer who just started employment just after graduation, Actually, the contract was to work from home. Wants to get the salary remitted or credited to his account. So he need to produce a bank account. Now, the person who starts working from home, does he need to go to a branch now? Not really. He simply comes into Sampath Bank online banking, Sampath Vishwa, register himself. During the registration, he is contacted by a bank officer through a video call session. The video KYC, digital KYC is done by verifying his credentials through Department of Registrar of Persons, DRP. The NIC, his face, everything will be recorded. The mandate is registered, digital mandate, everything is done. Now, he can simply produce his account number to the employment. His account get credited, the salary get credited. He can start spending that, purchasing goods, maybe purchasing new clothes after the employment, with the new employment, paying to his new course he enrolled with. Everything is online, because with the Vishwa, he can get the credit card, virtual card also together. He can start e-commerce transactions. But in case, if he want to get some cash, sometimes we are not yet cashless. We are in a less cash society. We are moving towards a less cash society. So still, if in need of a cash, he can simply get the wallet, the QR app, through the Vishwa credentials, just the same user ID and password, log into wallet and scan it on a ATM, the QR, withdraw cash. He didn't want to come to the branch yet to any requirement. Even he wants to now, depending on his savings, if he needs to go to a quick loan, online banking can quickly facilitate it. In a case, he wants to get a different loan or lending facility, when he wants to come to the branch, visit the branch, still all the credentials are readily available at the branch. Just walk-in customer can continue the journey through all the credentials done on the same platform. That is the beauty of this. So have we done this overnight? Not really. Building of this platform was done with a vision. The end target was there, but definitely we gradually build up. The platform required different modules. We have always ensured the provision was kept for the new modules to come, the new upgrades to come. We starting from the core banking layer. The earlier core banking had limited integration facilities, but the upgrade of core banking layer was the starting point for this new environment, where multiple APIs, a new API layer came into that, which is supported to enterprise server bus, service bus environment. Again, developed through microservices architecture. Each and every functionality is built on microservices. And in the front end, the online banking, wallet, branch, all those channels were supported. So all these layers were supported by other layers like document management, a digital engagement layer, and video banking facility, which enables us to check the customer's KYC through the Department of Registrar of Persons. Then in the front end, customer, what customer see is through maybe web, through maybe mobile, even if required physically at a branch, sometime maybe through chatting, or even a machine like the ATM, or we have the video teller machine where even a customer can open an account and get the ATM card through the machine without coming to the branch. So all those are put together in the front, where all these layers are in the back, facilitating those together. So how do we do it? As I said, it's not overnight. We definitely had a comprehensive digital strategy. We had the end vision in mind. We had a clear execution plan with definite timelines, so that we started with the different modules which were earlier possible, then adding up on different new modules, like on top of the core banking system, enabling the digital API layer, then bringing in the ESB layer, then document management and workflow layer, then engagement platform layer to build up the interaction with the customer from the data we have in different other systems. So finally, it becomes a single platform, but it was a gradual approach. Then not only the technology, change of the operating environment. Some operations were brought into be centralized, some were expanded, distributed, selective distribution sometimes. As an example, the digital onboarding team were brought in together into one office, a single office. The KYC officers were located in a single office, where these customers starting account opening from maybe web or our VTM machines are facilitated through that central location. And with that, actually, maybe when the branches are closed at 3 p.m., but this centralized operation continues till midnight. So when a customer wants to open an account during midnight, simply he's getting connected through video KYC to this centralized operation. So we have extended our customer window. And of course, we have effectively utilized the HR resources as well by doing that. So I took that only example, or that's only one example, but there were many such changes to operating environment. Then the procedures. Actually, the central bank changes to the guidelines on onboarding was a blessing. Actually, we have been working so long with central bank and of course with the Department of Registrar Person also to get this facilitated. Of course, now it was from last year, it is ready, and we are utilizing that. So with that, we had to change our environment, the procedures, guidelines altogether, the contracts, the mandates, everything. Not only the technical part, not only just taking this paper mandate to digital form. No, not only that, many things. Then essentially, it was a phased approach. As I said earlier, it's not overnight. The technical change, the procedural change, done under a single strategy, a digital strategy, pushed from top to bottom as well, was the key to this achievement. So just looking at some statistics during the past, you can see this green line, our total transaction growth, then the red line, the manual transaction, and the blue line is the digital transaction. So you can see, while the digital transactions are picking up by ATMs, digital and self-service, ATMs, online banking, wallet, and e-commerce, all those, the red line, the manual transactions at branches have gone down drastically. So that is one example for these efficiencies, from not only from the customer side, but also from the bank side, and especially the employee side. How up to what extent the employees' lives become easy. And when you look at the customer's journey, the reduction of the traveling time, queuing time, form filling time, and even processing time from the bank side, the employee side. All those are reduced. You can see the green line is a customer to solution, straightforward engagement. So going forward, we will look at further strengthening these by looking at finer points for enhancements, like from the account on board into the other areas as well. And this is not over today. It's a continuing journey. That is the other message I wanted to give. So it's not overnight, it's phased, and there's no end to this. It will continue. With that, I would say thank you.
Thank you very much, Nuwan. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Nuwan, Chief Manager Digital Banking of Sampath Bank PLC. All right, so now having heard that case study, we move on to our next session titled Transform Customer Service with Smart CX Solutions. And I would like to now invite Arvind Sekar, Solutions Engineering of Freshworks. Arvind has over a decade of experience in customer-centric roles in the SaaS and enterprise software space. He works with different SMB, mid-market and enterprise organizations, helping them transform and enhance their customer engagement and customer service functions. As the manager of Solutions Engineering at Freshworks Incorporated, he spearheads the pre-sales initiatives of Freshworks across different regions such as India, Middle East, and the African region. All right, so now I would like to invite Arvind to take over the screen and talk to us on how to transform customer service with smart CX solutions. Over to you, Arvind.
Very good afternoon, everyone. I'm Arvind. Thanks for the wonderful introduction. As I was introduced, I'm Arvind. I am a part of the Freshworks solutions engineering team. I manage the pre-sales and solutions engineering from India, Middle East, and Africa. And of course, as you can see on the screen, the topic for the day is transform customer service with smart CX solutions. But not before I introduce you to some of the CX trends. And it's an extensive study that we did amongst a lot of companies, a lot of organizations, a lot of businesses across different verticals. And I would probably start with our interpretation of what the CX trends look like in the future and in the present year, right? So I'll probably start with a brief introduction there as well, right? So businesses have experienced physical constraints, and it's a pretty evident fact, right? So in the last 2 years, not a lot of businesses are physically open, and consumers resorted to digital platforms for engaging with businesses, right? And businesses were forced to redefine customer experience. Yeah. While consumers have embraced this change really well. I mean, consumers are okay with this change. They are used to technology. They are used to physical device. I mean, physically handheld devices or laptops or tablets. They embraced to this change very well. But for businesses, it became a challenge. Businesses that did not adopt to this particular change perished in the last 2 years, and we all know that. And they needed an omni-channel strategy, and omni-channel is the key word that has been repeatedly spoken in this session, in this webinar. And of course, businesses had to resort to omni-channel strategy that speaks to digital first consumer while ensuring human engagement, right? So we are going to introduce 5 key trends around consumer and business behavior, and I'm pretty sure all you business folks can take a learning or two from these trends that I'm going to talk about. Yeah. So consumer behavior and what it's telling you, right? So that's what trend 1 is all about, right? So the new want it now culture dictates the terms, right? As the name indicates, it's wanted now. Customers expect service to be done immediately, right? Whether it's a sales journey or a support journey, they want it right away, right? So we surveyed more than 4,500 businesses from different verticals, and we analyzed 107 million customer interactions. And what we were able to narrow down is no, the speed of service had the highest impact on CSAT scores, right? So speed of service is the key here, and it had a direct correlation with the CSAT scores, right? And 80% of them, 80% of these consumers demanded quicker responses from businesses, right? A key example that I wanted to highlight here is 7-Eleven. I'm pretty sure you would have heard about this US-based organization. 7-Eleven, they are into they have a chain of retail stores, and they saw a jump in Facebook conversation in this last 2 years by jumped up to 44%. Right, and the trend, it's in 2020, and the trend continued in 2021. Also, they were able to see 60% of their overall queries are coming through social media channels. Yeah, it's a very, very key fact that I'm presenting to you here. Now, what? Let's move from trend 1 to trend 2. The second trend is, of course, the first trend we spoke about speed of service. The second trend that we saw is customers engage through number of channels, right? And that's where businesses are resorted to or forced to resort to an omni-channel strategy, because customers are willing to engage through a number of channels, be it traditional channels such as email and phone, be it physical channels such as in-store, digital channels such as online social media, right? And customers' typical journey is kind of unpredictable. A customer can look at an ad in Instagram, they visit the business's website, and to browse through the products and services. They can initiate a chat conversation from the website itself and talk to a live agent, and later go on to the physical store and complete the purchase. And over and above all this, they come back and then they share this entire experience in a social media channel. And this is just one plausible journey that a customer can take. There can be n number of combinations here, and the journey can vary according to the customer needs, right? So this is from a business's perspective. When a customer goes to a store, for example, right, they expect hyper personalized support, right? What do we mean by hyper personalized support is that, you know, when they go and talk to a store manager or talk to somebody who is going to help them in the store, they expect the homework to be done by the business. I mean, what this customer is all about, you know, what's from which demographics are they coming from, what is their past buying history, what kind of products they bought from us in the past, and what kind of products that they are browsing and has shown interest in, right? All these information should be intact, should be available for the business, so that they can provide hyper personalized support to these consumers visiting a physical store, for example, right? Another example I wanted to give here is Lenskart. It's one of our customers. Lenskart, an India and Singapore-based retail eyewear brand, they embrace this transition really, really well, right? They were a digital-first company, and they ventured into physical stores in India, right? So as a customer, and I, of course, the glasses that you see on me is bought from Lenskart. I browsed this product online, right? I showed interest in this product, and when I went to Lenskart physical store, the store they were able to quickly realize that, you know, I showed products in this category, and I showed interest in the specific frame, and they were quick to understand my personal needs and my desires, and they were able to quickly respond to my needs, right? And that's the level of interest, and that's the level of personalization that consumers are expecting when they reach out to a brand or business, right? 38%, I mean, another statistics that I wanted to showcase here is 38% of customers expect agents to know who they are and the context with which they are reaching out to the support team on, right? And 80% of buyers are more likely to purchase from a brand or a business that offer personalized experience, right? Businesses that offer personalized experience, the consumers are really willing to buy and, you know, stick to that particular brand and the business. So let's go to the next trend, the trend 3, right? Messaging and mobile first conversations redefine delight, right? Again, speed has been the key factor here as well, because when we talk about messages, when we talk about mobile first conversations, it's all about real-time conversations, it's all about speed, right? Consumers appreciate the ability to continue conversations over any of the messaging channels that they start their conversation from, be it Apple Business Chat, Facebook Messenger, WhatsApp, Line Chat, right? And these are some of the go-to channels of the consumers these days. They can have the luxury of sitting at home or sitting anywhere and just start a conversation with a business as per their need, right? And an advantage that a business can take from such a consumer behavior is that there's always a always on open line of communication. What is always on open line of communication is that, consumers can initiate a conversation and they can continue the conversation after say 3 or 4 hours as well, right? The businesses can, of course, reinitiate a conversation from wherever the consumer has left, right? Now compare this with the traditional phone channel, right? We cannot have an always on open line of communication through a phone channel that is very, very traditional, right? The conversation is cut there. I mean, after the first phone call, it's over, right? Now with messaging channels, the conversation can continue over a period of say hours or over a period of days, right? And the advantage that an organization or a business can also get is that messaging channels are shown to slash up to 60% of the cost per customer interaction when they resort to messaging channels compared to a traditional channel such as phone or email. Yeah. Now, some of the other statistics that I wanted to put across here is 68% of WhatsApp users believe that it's the most convenient way to engage with a brand, which is a huge number. 68% feel that I'm comfortable using WhatsApp to interact with the business, right? And businesses have seen a 20% reduction in call volumes by using Apple Business Chat, right? A couple of real examples. Klook is a Hong Kong-based travel company, and they saw increased customer retention. Gone are the days when we talk about customer acquisition. The trend that we see currently is customer retention, right? Customer retention has increased by 40% with just WhatsApp notifications. Keep consumers updated about the business. Keep consumers updated about their orders, about their purchases, right? So that will help businesses retain customer interactions, customer retention by 40%. Renault, very, very popular brand, popular automotive brand, they increased total direct communication with clients by 163%, right? They are willing to directly talk with consumers across the globe, right? So let's go to the next trend, the age of agent-led bot enhanced experiences, right? So agent, it's not always about consumers. You also have to keep your agents. You also have to keep your employees happy, right? Agent empowerment becomes the key here. And of course, in the last 2 years, we see soaring query volumes, increasing customer anxiety, adapting to the new work environment, right? Have made agents' job much more harder. And the threat of burnout is real. We have seen that everywhere across industry verticals, across different customer support organizations, we have seen that the burnout is real. And leaders of these customer support organizations are looking out to rely upon technology more than ever to empower employees and agents. And at least 1 in 3 leaders believe that building new generation digital platforms can help customer-facing teams to reduce this burnout, to increase, to handle increasing call volumes, right? So that's what we see as a trend. And how do leaders go about doing this, right? There are some key areas that they are looking upon, right? Cutting down repetitive tasks performed by the agents, right? So for example, AI-based ticket classification, basically triaging of tickets, automatic routing of incoming customer calls, right? And these factors or these areas can save up to 1.2 hours a day from an agent's calendar. Yeah. And slashing agent workloads while elevating CSAT, right? Now imagine every 100 extra monthly tickets that an agent handles can reduce the CSAT scores by at least 1%, right? Which is a very big drop in terms of the CSAT scores, right? Enabling robust self-service capabilities for both consumers as well as agents can really put a stop to this particular key challenge that any organization might face. The third one being helping agents connected while they are in remote. Now, agents cannot perform their activities or cannot solve queries all alone by themselves. They also have to depend on internal teams, have to depend on other functions to resolve some of the customer queries or customer complaints or grievances. Now, agents are expecting these platforms to have a seamless integration with internal collaboration tools such as Slack or Teams, right? So that they can quickly get the required information from another function, another employee who's a part of another function, and get the queries handled on time and thereby adhering to the SLAs. And this can a proper seamless integration with the collaboration tools such as Slack or Teams can reduce the number of clicks up to 120. And the last trend, experiences move from automation to prediction. There's a huge uptake that we see in terms of AI-based chat conversation in the last 2 years, right? AI also enables agents to handle high volumes and improve efficiency. And businesses are starting to explore the additional investment that they make in terms of technology, how this can take that extra mile, go that extra mile and elevate customer experiences. Yeah, some examples that we see in trend 5 is that smart bots can just automate, right? But smarter bots can predict customer behavior, right? And scale customer service and of course deliver delight, right? Brands have reported 7% increase in CSAT scores as a result of successful bot implementations, right? So but just by having a simple bot across multiple channels in place, they'll be able to see a significant improvement in the CSAT scores. But how do we do that, right? When we talk about bots, we talk about automating things, right? But automating the right kind of queries is the key here. Now imagine automating a question like, what's your refund policy? Would not have a lot of impact, but automating a question like, where is my order? Because it's going to be customer centric. It's going to be specific to a customer, because a customer can have 3 or 4 open orders. A customer can have 1 open order, right? So if a bot or a self-service engine can address that query that the customer asks, and that's where we talk about intelligent bots, AI enabled bots, right? And it's not just about automating a simple query, but understanding the need of the customer, understanding the intent, and thereby responding to that query is what organizations are moving towards, right? And of course, not all bot implementations are going to be one time, right? Learning is the key. Learning from the quality of conversation, learning from the past conversations. And there are organizations set up deflection teams, wherein understanding how a bot is typically handling a query and improvising these bot, right, is the key there. So it's a journey. Bot implementations are always not one time, and bot has to evolve over a period of time, because as and when they understand different customers, as and when they interact with a lot of different types of customers, the learning becomes better, and the bot will be able to answer queries in a much better way, right? And again, when I speak about bots, it's not always customer facing bots. We also talk about agent facing AI based bots as well, right? There are 2 key things that we talk about when we talk about agent facing bots, right? It's basically for agent assistance. Let's assume that a new agent coming into a customer support organization, they have to go through a large or a bigger learning curve before even they start putting value to the incoming queries, right? So now imagine if you can shrink this learning curve and put in agent facing bots, so that any query that the agent is not able to answer, a bot can actually assist the agent and say that, okay, this is what the query is about. You probably have to respond to that query in this particular way, right? Not only are we talking about agent facing bot, but imagine automation capabilities such as email bots or article suggester, RPA capabilities, and these are some of the areas that the agent can leverage upon, so that they can actually perform or actually offload repetitive tasks to AI based automation capabilities and focus on value added activities, value added human interactions there. Yeah. So we talk about the trends, what is Freshworks doing, and we talk about I'm from a company called Freshworks, and we are going to really talk about in the next few minutes. We're going to talk about how Freshworks as an organization can help organizations with this transformation by providing smart CX solutions, right? A quick introduction about Freshworks. We are a company that was founded in 2010. Our last 12-month revenue is more than $300 million, and our year-on-year growth is 46%. We have more than 4,000 employees across the globe. We have had some wide range of rewards and recognitions from different research analysts and industries. We have more than 50,000 paying customers across the globe. And as far as the market recognition goes, we are customer choice. We got the customer choice award in Gartner Peer Insights. We have featured in 4 Gartner Magic Quadrants. That includes us holding a position in Visionary Quadrant under CRM CEC category, and us holding a position in Challenger Quadrant in IT Service Management category as well. And we recently went public in last year. as recent as September 2021, and we are listed as fresh on Nasdaq. So some of our solutions, some of the portfolio that we have are majorly categorized into two areas: employee solutions and customer solutions. And under customer solutions, we talk about Freshdesk, which is a customer experience platform. We talk about Fresh Sales and Fresh Marketer, which is a sales and marketing automation platform, right? And as far as the employee solution goes, we have Fresh Service, which is our IT service management platform, and all these platforms are built on top of Freshworks Neo. And Freshworks Neo gives you the complete flexibility in terms of adopting these platforms and also build your own solutions on top of the Freshworks Neo platform. For example, the last mile requirement that any industry vertical might have in terms of integration with a third-party tool, or integration with a legacy system, integrations with another business application or an enterprise system, Freshworks Neo would give you the complete flexibility to bring in or push information from these tools that we are talking about. Yeah. And just focusing on Freshdesk Omnichannel, it's a true omnichannel platform wherein the core of Freshdesk Omnichannel is the ability to manage tickets, and on top of this, you can see a lot of peripheral modules on around Freshdesk, wherein we have a live chat, a platform, and a bots platform. We have ticket routing, simplified ticketing for agents, and enhanced collaboration capabilities between different functions as well as different agents. We have a unique Freddy AI automation capability, AI-enabled automation capability that has its flavor in multiple features across the product, and some of the key capabilities that we talk about when we talk about Freshdesk Omnichannel as a platform. Of course, this just a glimpse of what Freshdesk Omnichannel platform can do, right? And of course, as I told you, we have customers across the globe. You can see some really prominent, significant logos here across different industry verticals. We have our presence in different industry, and you can see some really big names here. A couple of case studies that I wanted to highlight here is Hamleys. As you all would have heard about this particular brand. It's a British multinational toy retailer headquartered in United Kingdom, and some of their key business challenges were lesser agent productivity, lack of analytics and insights, lack of automation, cost savings, and they were looking for a robust ticketing platform, and that's where Freshdesk Omnichannel platform was adopted by Hamleys, and they were able to save cost by 50%. And you can see one of the key metric that we were able to measure was that the implementation time was less than 48 hours. Of course, it varies from the company to company, industry to industry, but because they have very well documented support process, we were able to quickly configure the product to their needs, and the implementation time was less than 2 days. Blinkit, formerly called as Grofers, it's India's largest grocery e-retailer. They were fulfilling orders in the range of 20,000 orders per day across 26 plus cities. And some of the business challenges that they were facing was an undocumented ticketing process, lack of insights. There were absolutely no reporting, absolutely no analytics done on top of the types of queries that were coming in, and lack of bulk responses to similar queries, and again automation capabilities. And they were looking for a solution that had, again, a robust ticketing platform, AI-based bots, very, very insightful analytics capabilities, right? And they were able to achieve or overcome all these business challenges with the help of our Freshdesk Omnichannel platform. Yeah. So with that, I kind of wrap up my presentation. I would really thank the organizers of Digital Leaders Conclave and FITIS for giving me the opportunity to present in front of this wonderful audience. And yeah, please reach out to me post this session in case you want more details about our company and the portfolio that we have. Thank you so much for everyone.
Thank you so much, Arvind. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. Arvind Sekar from Freshworks. Next, we have our second case study for this morning, and it will be presented by MyMed International on digital marketing strategy. Right. So to present their case, we have two speakers, Kristen James from Z Messenger, and also Ms. Jayomi Lopolina as well, who is also joining us today. So before they present their case, I would like to sort of give a brief introduction to Jayomi and Kristen. So of course, Jayomi needs no introduction. She's the co-founder and CEO of data-driven digital marketing company Z Messenger, Digital X Private Limited, and MyMed International. She has played a pivotal role in shaping the digital marketing industry in the country. Jayomi has led digital marketing and campaign strategies for major brands, corporate enterprises, agencies, and social missions covering over 2,000 plus campaigns. So in 2005, Jayomi was honored as Women Entrepreneur of the Year by Women Chamber of Industry and Commerce, and as South Asia's Best Female Entrepreneur of the Year by South Asian Business Partnership Award. So she has multiple awards and accolades, which I'm not going to touch upon right now. Then we also have Mr. Kristen James, Manager Performance Marketing at Z Messenger Private Limited. Kristen's scope of experience consists of e-commerce campaign management, dynamic remarketing implementation and management of various FB and Google campaigns, funnel management, 360-degree digital campaigns, brand awareness, social media marketing, and so much more. So I would like to now cordially invite Kristen and Jayomi to present the case of MyMed International, who are also one of our main winners at the Digital Excellence Awards. So over to you, Kristen.
Yeah, thank you so much for the opportunity on allowing us to present the case of MyMed International at this Conclave event. So without further ado, I'd like to go into the agenda of what I'll be presenting today. So I'll be going ahead with an introduction of who MyMed International is, and then we'll be focusing and highlighting on the problems which existed in the market and how MyMed International elevated these problems by offering effective solutions. And then I'm also highlighting on the growth aspect, on how we have grown and on the numbers of it. So in order to give an introduction, MyMed International was founded with the core principles of revolutionizing health and wellness industry in Sri Lanka. So rooting to its inception in 2019, our main focus has been on the health and wellness industry and to revolutionize the whole landscape in the health and wellness industry. So in order to drive success for the main brand MyMed International, we have 3 different brands which are focusing on 3 different dimensions in the market. So I'll be individually explaining these 3 brands and how we have enabled technology in order to enrich customer life. So initially, Sekar, it's an online donation platform that provides people with life-saving medications during times of need. So Sekar enables individuals, both locally and who are expats, to donate for different causes. It can be a renovation of a hospital, or it can be for individuals who are in dire need of funds in order to get their treatment done, such as liver transplant, etc. So Sekar enables this cause via a digital enabled platform for connecting both those who are in need with the ones who are willing to donate. And then we have MedExpert. MedExpert is a second opinion platform that allows patients to obtain a second opinion consultation from a doctor overseas. So this is also especially for the segment who have basically lost all their hope. So due to non-availability of treatment in the local context, we are actually giving them a second chance by actually allowing them to seek for medical opinion from overseas panel of doctors. If I'm to briefly explain, MyMed.lk is a health and wellness portal, which is dedicatedly focusing on the Sri Lankan market. We not only offer health and wellness related product and services, but we also enable, in partnership with AdStudio, we also enable advertisers such as Nestle, Unilever, Cow and Gate by providing programmatic ad solutions as well. So moving to the problem and the solution aspect. So I would like to briefly explain some of the problems which existed in the market and then how we had elevated these problems. So the first one is access to quality medication. So initially we had identified that specifically like both in Western province and in the outside Western province, one of the key issues which I had found out is, for example, let's say it can be anyone at your home or even for yourself, when you get a prescription from a doctor and when you go to a pharmacy, there are high chances that that specific pharmacy not having all the medications, or at least not the exact brand which you are looking for. So this had been a major concern, especially in the outskirts of the Western province. So when you take especially the ones who are suffering from chronic conditions such as diabetes, blood pressure, etc., for them, access of medication in a timely manner is crucial, very crucial. So this is one of the main problem which had existed in the market. And the second one is a brick and mortar pharmacies. So here, one of the key concerns is then again, with the rise of digital and online payment and with the growth of e-commerce industry in Sri Lanka, one of the key issues faced by both like Western province and outside Western province brick and mortar pharmacies is that them effectively reaching out to the customers. Because in any given location, we had identified there are, even though there are multiple pharmacies, but then again, in terms of customers going and engaging or purchasing from like specific pharmacy, it had actually declined over a period of 2 to 3 years, especially post-pandemic. So we had effectively identified this situation also, and we had actually elevated these problems via MyMed.lk. So we had actually elevated these problems by focusing on 3 main elements. One is our business proposition, second one is digital optimization, and the third one is fulfillment and after sales. So under business proposition, this is a typical model on how we work. So for example, let's say you are placing an order within the vicinity of Western province, and within the Western province, that orders are specifically routed from a fulfillment center, which is based in Western province. But let's say you are based in somewhere like Central province, like Kandy, and when you place an order, those orders are routed from a partner network. So what we have specifically done here is we have partnered with several pharmacies in a given location, geolocation, and depending on the type of order, either from one specific pharmacy or from multiple pharmacies, depending on the availability of medication, brands, etc., the orders will be routed to the customer. So let's say we give a context, okay, in a scenario where like at any given instance, as you know, we don't stock up on all the products in our fulfillment center. We rather focus on products which are fast moving. So there, at certain instances, there may be products which are not available in our fulfillment center. In that case, what specifically happens is we also have partners within the Western province region. So we directly route orders from either one partner or multiple partners in order to effectively fulfill the orders. So this had resulted in us being 70% fast and efficient than other modes of delivery when it comes to health and wellness or prescription medication within the Western province. And outside Western province, we are 80% much more effective. So this has been a success so far. So under digital optimization, we have 3 different avenues, UI, UX, performance advertising, and then the product assortment. So under UI, UX, UI, UX, as many other speakers also mentioned, it is very important, because all your customers, unlike a physical location, all your customers come and land onto your online store, and that is where from initial visit to the actual conversion happens. So it is very crucial that we optimize end-to-end in terms of customer journey in order to drive the conversions. So in order to do so, how we have enable this specific aspect is we actually monitor our customer visits from page visits to actual conversions, and we continuously do A/B testing. How we do that is we, for example, we actually monitor different stages when it comes to a customer life cycle. For example, if we monitor that our homepage visitors are bouncing on in a very high rate, we actually experiment with changing elements such as our navigation, our homepage product assortment, or in terms of search, how better we can recommend what are the actual search terms and how better we can recommend products or services. In those aspects, we closely go through. And for example, let's say if customers are dropping off high on the checkout page, we then again do A/B testing in terms of what are the number of fields available, can we actually minimize the number of fields, like how best we can convert a customer from the checkout page to actual conversions. So by end-to-end optimizing, we are able to effectively drive users from awareness stage to conversions. And then moving further to performance marketing, our advertising campaigns focus primarily on conversion driven aspect, meaning that it's not that we don't focus on other aspects of awareness, consideration, conversion. Rather, all our campaigns are optimized towards driving optimum results for the amount we spend. So how we have done this is it doesn't have to be even digital campaigns. It can be SMS, it can be email marketing. So all our campaigns are effectively measured. So we use a tool called Pivik Pro. So with the use of Pivik Pro, we actually segment users into different levels. And we also clearly identify what is the actual platform which is giving us a conversion for a very low cost. So the reason why we do this, as you know, the industry itself is very, when it comes to industry margins, it's very tight. Therefore, it's very crucial that we effectively manage our advertising expenditures. So by focusing on platforms and channels, which is effectively driving conversions for us, we are able to further sustain in the business in a long term. So at last, what we are looking at is product assortment. So product assortment strategy is one of the crucial elements when it comes to the type of industry which we operate in. So we do use business intelligence tools in order to identify the fast moving products. So we maintain a healthy amount of stocks in our fulfillment center, and the products which are non-fast movers, we try to resort to partners like the partnered pharmacies in order to fulfill these orders. So by doing this, we've been effectively able to grow our business in the past 2 years. So at last, we are looking at fulfillment and after sales service. So this is also one of the main areas where we had focused, because as you know, it is actually cheaper to retain a customer than to acquire a new customer. So how we have effectively focused on fulfillment and after sales services, we continuously evaluate on our turnaround times. We focus on different orders from different regions, and we look at the average turnaround time in order to further improve the average turnaround time. And further to this, we also focus on retaining the audience by using Pivik Pro CDP. So we continuously identify the top purchase customers, and we offer them unique coupon codes so we can retain them. And we also further keep them in our funnel in order to effectively keep them up to date in any ongoing promotions, etc. So what makes us? We are digital based. We are fully agile because since we are a digitally born organization, and we are also faster, as I have shown insights in the previous slide. We are also faster when compared to so many other alternatives. And then the third one is experimenting. We are always experimenting on different channels, different campaigns, different executional renditions in order to identify what works well for us and to disfollow what is not working for us. And the last one is measurement. So on that, what we believe is it's not successful when it is not measured. So we have actually grown compared to year 2020 to year 2021, we have grown by 110%. Which is the year-on-year growth. And our average cart value has grown significantly, which is a 250% increase year-on-year. And then our average monthly visitors have grown by 150%. And then our website bounce rate has reduced by -28%. And then at last, what I want to highlight is the effort score. So in partnership with several third-party research companies, we do annual surveys. So in that, we found out that our, so basically effort score is interprets as how easy for a customer to obtain a brand's product or service. So based on the survey, we found out that 88% of our customers found out that our product and services are very easy to acquire. So at last, what we strongly believe is growth is a journey than a destination. So we are also continuously working on improving our business offering to meet further future demand and to align ourselves to offer better customer service. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kristen. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. Kristen James representing MyMed International and presenting their case. Next, we are down to the last session for today. And I would now like to invite Mr. Sandeep Raut, founder and CEO of Going Digital, to talk to us on digitized customer experience with digital marketing strategy. But before that, let me run through a very impressive resume of sorts of Sandeep. Sandeep is currently the founder and CEO of Going Digital. He is a digital transformation analytics, big data, mobility, and IoT evangelist. He brings with him over 34 years of IT strategy, consulting, and delivery experience. He was featured in the top 10 global digital transformation influencers to follow today by IDG. He has been featured in the top 10 digital transformation influencers that will change your world. Ranked number 2 in top 15 Indian influencers in CEO World magazine. Ranked number 3 in top 25 digital transformation blogs. He is ranked number 2 in the top 20 global thought leaders in analytics. Ranked number 3 in top 20 global thought leaders on big data, and ranked number 3 in global business intelligence business leaders. His accolades go on and on, but I don't want to. Yes, so I think without further ado, I would like to now invite Mr. Sandeep Rao, founder and CEO of Going Digital, to talk to us on digitized customer experience with digital marketing strategy. Sandeep, over to you.
Thank you very much. And that was a long introduction. So I'll quickly touch upon the customer experience, mainly digital customer experience, and how digital marketing strategy can also play a great role in providing that digital experience. But we thought before we get into that, we will also tell how we actually evaluated the companies and organizations which took part in this, Leaders Conclave and Excellence Award. So I have just put together one slide where we said that there are 5 external features, right? And there are 5 internal features on which we actually scored the companies, organizations, staff on demand, community, algorithm, interfaces, dashboard. Multiple things came together. All the judges spent a lot of time in terms of finding the evidences of the companies or organizations who have given that responses. And we observed there were some people or the businesses who did not give us the right evidences, though they were doing it, but they did not give us the right evidences, and that way, I mean, they kind of lost on those grounds. The last one was massive transformating purpose, where we thought of identifying how big is the organization's vision. Are they thinking global? Are they thinking about spreading across all the geographies and stuff like that? So those were the 3 main criteria I just thought of putting together so all of you are aware. And then I move on to the customer experience, right? So obviously all the leaders have talked so far that experience is the brand now, right? Unless and until that experience is not given to the customers, obviously the brand is worthless. I mean, people will not come to you or go to the competition. Mainly that's where today's world, experience is the brand, and that's what companies who are successful are making and talking about that point onward. So what is digital customer experience? Nowadays, all of us are interacting with businesses or service providers via various digital channels. So we are either on mobile, we are experiencing or checking out the websites. We may have any IoT sensors, devices connected. So checking, on the retail stuff or manufacturing, then in-store experiences, kiosks, support calls. Everywhere there is a digital interaction, and that's where how customer is percepting or having that perception of experience. That's what is digital experience. And I like to bring in a lot of pictures so that people can understand it easily, because picture is worth 1,000 words. So customers always have an experience, either it is good, bad, ugly, indifferent, whatever way. So there are 9 emotions we talk about. So customers always get one of that when they are interacting with your organization. Now, it's not just one instance, because all the time customers are interacting with you. That has to be covered, and that's where people are talking about customer journey. And I have one slide down the line, but mainly, as Jeff Bezos said, that Amazon, it starts when you actually first hear about it, and then it ends when you get the package. In fact, now they have gone further ahead. So that's what Jeff Bezos was talking about. And let's go further talking about how these customer experiences can be delivered. Obviously, it has to be effective. Customers need to get some value out of it. It has to be easy. They should not be finding it complex, right? The Amazon, take an example, how easy it is to buy something on Amazon. And obviously they will feel happy about buying or taking your product and services. So 3 E's are extremely important in this digital age for customer experience. Now, top attributes, obviously fast response time. Now, many times we as consumer also get into problem and we call the customer service. So response time is really important. How fast the service provider responses. They may take 1 or 2 days or more for resolution, but faster response time is extremely important. Then consistency across all channels, as we have seen those digital channel, right? Consistent experience. I mean, if I am calling or writing an email to the customer support and then I'm calling the call center, that person should not be asking me the same questions which I have already written in the email. So consistency, knowledgeable staff, obviously that's really important, because we ourselves, when we are consumers, we do research, understand, find something. If I want to buy a laptop, I'll do a lot of research, right? Similarly, that staff needs to know what customer wants and what are they expecting, what are their pain areas. On the customer support, again, person to speak, and then relevant communication, promotion, digital marketing has to happen. So these are the 5 attributes of customer experience I thought will be useful for all of us. Don't do something like this. I have experience in the telecommunication industry. Your call is important to us, but please stay on our line for 20 minutes. That's the customer experience. Typically, these service providers may give and you get frustrated about. Some challenges, almost 41% leaders say they don't feel confident about the information necessary which is available in the organization or possibly given to people. Then measurements, again, those measurements are not available, and 57% people say they are not really with this COVID situation. A lot of time ambulances are just passing through on the road. Sorry for that. So measurements, again, people are not aware how to measure customer experience. And lastly, investments, because most of the time the investments are given to the sales leaders, marketing leaders, but customer experience leaders get a very slow investment. And that's one of the challenge people feel about it. So you have to have a customer centricity to bring in that customer experience. Obviously, customer focused leadership has to be there. You have to measure it. Feedbacks need to be collected, design that experience, understand that experience. So everything, put your customers front and center, and only then you can think about customer experience. Why to do this? Obviously, all the leaders have already talked about it, right? Arvind also talked about it. But improving retention more than 42%, satisfaction more than 33%, and cross-sell upsell opportunities again more than 30%. That's what you get when you actually think about customer experience. Now, how do you measure this? The one of the most important thing is net promoter score, NPS. And when you buy something from an electronic shop or anywhere, you will also get this kind of SMS. How likely you are, to recommend our product or service to your friend, colleague, or family, right? 1 to 9 or 1 to 10 score. So this is how customer experience can be measured. NPS. That's a really simple way of measuring, and many ways people can measure it. How do you then tackle the customer who is moving as on taking your product and services? So it is basically creating a customer journey map, and that's why it is understanding all the pain areas in your customer journey, finding out what's happening. And there are typically a customer journey map is visualization of what's happening each and every interaction, like Jeff Bezos said, right? So there are 5 phases of customer journey, as you can see here. Awareness to advocacy. Awareness, obviously, does your prospect or customer know that you exist, right? So if I want to buy a laptop, I know there is HP, Dell, Lenovo, Apple, so on and so forth. So does your prospect know that you exist? And if not, what all digital initiatives you can create to make these new prospects, customers aware of your business? So that is one part of it. Then there is a comparison. Now that I have decided to buy a laptop, I'll compare with all others. So in that comparison, how you make customers' life easier to compare your product services with others. Then they decide to buy from you. That's where the conversion or purchase decision happens, right? So how do you do the customer onboarding? What are the challenges, contractual agreements, things like that? Make customers' life simpler and easier. That's the bottom line. Then you can get into the retention phase where customers are already onboarded and you are servicing them. So you need to have a complete watch and customer satisfaction surveys and things like that to measure the retention part of customers. Finally, if all is well, they will become your advocate. So you have to close the loop, bring those testimonials, videos of the happy customers to make more people aware. So bring from advocacy to again awareness and close this loop. So this is how you can cover the 5 phases of customer journey and create a customer journey map. That's really important because many a time people do feel digital transformation is, doing something, automating something, use RPA and so on and so forth. But if your customer focus is not there, if you have not thought of these 5 phases in actually that digital initiative, then obviously that transformation effort is going to fail 100%. And I have experienced those with many businesses where I do coach and consult. So that's really important to have a customer journey map as a foundational stuff. Now, how do you bring in digital marketing? It's not just promotions nowadays. Digital marketing is all about reaching out to customer and getting on your top of the mind awareness of the customer. It's like calling guests for dinner. I mean, which of your guests will have, vegetarian food, non-vegetarian food, which drinks they will like, what starters they will like. Do they, like the cakes or, other sweets as desserts or so same way, when you go into digital marketing, you need to know your customers. You need to know your target group. What do they like? What do they dislike? What pain areas they have? They may have kind of like this guest, someone may have allergies to something. So you need to know those things when you actually do this digital marketing for enhancing your customer experience a lot. So that's where you bring in these 3 R's I normally talk about. It's all about communicating the right message to the right audience using the right channel. So remember, there is 3 R's. Right message, obviously, what is your company's message, organization message, which audience you are talking, and on what channel, digital channel. So there are many social media channel and people play on all of them, but which one is really important? If you are into service industry, then maybe LinkedIn is a better channel. But if you are into jewelry or food or travel, then Instagram, Facebook could be one of the good platform for you. So think about these 3 R's. That's how you can bring in more relevant customer experience via digital marketing. As I said, objective of digital marketing is to get to the top of the mind awareness. So when a company or organization starts, they are not, people are not aware of their brand. So they start at the bottom. With digital marketing and advertising, the brand recognition phase is achieved. Now looking at him, Himalaya or Tresemme shampoo, I know they are, hair shampoo. Then the brand recall. I want to buy shoes, I'll remember Nike, recall Nike. I want to buy a burger or something, then McDonald's. But the ultimate nirvana of digital marketing is top of the mind awareness of the customer. Google, one best example. We normally now don't say that I want to search the internet or Xerox. These are the good examples. In India, we have Cadbury, Bisleri, similar examples. They have become synonym of what service they provide. Nobody says, give me, Pepsi water or some other water. Everybody says Bisleri, because that's how they start. So your objective should be reaching out to the top of the mind of your customers, and they should be recalling you every time, anytime they think or they have pain in your product, services, solutions area. So this is how, again, you can use digital marketing to ensure your customer experience is great. But your experience should not be boring. Bring in some humor there. Put some, ads like Amul does. You might have seen Amul's ads. They actually bring in some humor at that point of time, situational humor, and make your brand really remembered by the customers. This is what I was talking about. In this Corona period, they were doing a lot of digital marketing because people were sitting at home and they were browsing mobiles and laptops and things like that, or television channels. So they made a lot of impact using such humorous ads. That's why bringing humor is extremely important here, digital marketing. Now, when you say digital marketing, people feel only putting on social media is good, but that's not the case. You have to bring in so many different components. It starts with the branding. How is your logo? How is your website? Then you go to the social media. Then you think about email marketing, content marketing, and all other technical aspects like search engine marketing, search engine optimization, so on and so forth. So with all this combination, then you can come and say that, yes, now we are ready for customer reach. Let's do it. Not just posting here and there for 2 days a day, week, and forget it. That's not going to get you anywhere. This is how then I normally, suggest or recommend the digital marketing strategy. So it should be starting with your most engaging website, responsive website, because people are moving around. Always we are commuting from office to home, home to somewhere else, and so on and so forth. So your website has to be there. It's a digital showroom, and it should adjust according to the screen size. So laptop, iPad, iPhone, or any other smaller, bigger device, it should appear properly. Then search engine optimization is, as I said, Google, Yahoo, Bing, these are all search engines. So whenever people are searching for your product services, your name should appear on the first page of the Google. So that's where SEO is important. Then content marketing, even if you have 1 and 2 done perfectly, if your content is not good, if you have not created any exciting content, right, then people again will not come to you. The 4, 5, 6 are execution steps. You use the nurturing steps for email marketing, then you do social media marketing for brand awareness, and paid marketing to launch your brand. So this is how a 6 steps digital marketing strategy comes into picture to reach out to your customer faster and give them the experience you want to give them. I have just one short video of Kolkata Knight Riders, which is an IPL team. You might have watched IPL so far. So let's hear how they have exploited digital marketing to reach out to their customers.
2014, the Kolkata Knight Riders ended the IPL season with a flourish by clinching the much-coveted IPL championship. KKR is until date the IPL team that has engaged the most with its fans and followers. Be it on Facebook with 10.5 million plus likes, KKR is the highest of all the IPL teams. Or on Twitter, where KKR is the most engaging IPL team. Right up to Instagram, where KKR became the most followed IPL team with more than 21,000 followers. It was also the IPL team to have its presence felt on platforms like Pinterest and Google+. KKR is also the only IPL team to have an exclusive YouTube video blog inside KKR so that fans could get to know more about their favorite team. The team also had a website, blog and official mobile app that kept fans updated with the latest news about the team. Here's some ideas that went into developing the content. A mascot Tutulda was created to match the sensibilities of a typical Bengali KKR supporter. Special creatives were prepared on the fly for every event, along with live tweeting and updates, contests, quizzes, match analytics and the latest pictures to keep the fans engaged. KKR also got its players' individual social media accounts verified. Besides these, the digital team at KKR also organized a live-streamed Facebook chat at Facebook HQ in Hyderabad. Moreover, certain players even had Q&A sessions on Twitter with their fans. An elaborate campaign Cheer for KKR was run on all social media platforms. A special Google widget was also created for this, which is a first for any sports team in the world. The fans were also given a chance to receive a customized, personalized acknowledgement video in return. This activity reached 10 million cricket followers. To conclude, having made an impact both on and off the field, the Kolkata Knight Riders are gearing up for a bigger and better season next year.
So you have seen how extremely great, efforts they have put in to reach out to their customers, which are audience, fans, and things like that. I have some quick more examples so that you get the idea. Now, Tesco in Hong Kong, they have put this kind of digital display on the tube which is underground railway, and customers can just take the photographs and food is delivered at your doorstep. That's the customer experience, right? Disney, all of you have heard it. Some of you might have visited their parks. So it starts with the website, which is mobile responsive, adjust on all the devices, as I said. Then you get a mobile app which you can download, get fast pass, understand what attractions are there in the park and how much is the wait time, so on and so forth. Then you actually get into the park and they give you this wristband, which is IoT enabled, Internet of Things. So with this, you can even open the hotel door where you are staying, because parks are so big. It's not just one day endeavor, right? You have to spend 2 days, 3 days there. So you have to take a hotel room to stay there, and you don't need keys. You don't need wallets and credit cards and things like that when you are, enjoying the park. Otherwise, your money will also fall down when you are on those loop rides or, other dangerous rides. So this IoT band actually helps Disney to do a lot of things. The Nike, again, now they say they don't advertise because it's now a health companion. So that's how they reach out to their customers. Starbucks, role model for customer experience and digital transformation. So they keep improving the customer experience all the time. Then some more examples. Amazon, you have already heard about it. Uber worldwide now. Domino's Pizza, they also do the similar kind of stuff. So I think that's all quick and short I wanted to bring in how you can improve your digital customer experience and adopt the digital marketing strategy that will help you out. Go ahead. Thank you very much.
So thank you very much, Sandeep. I would like to announce to you that this is just the second of our follow-up sessions on the Digital Excellence Awards. We have some exciting sessions coming up in the next few weeks. On the 5th of April, we have a session on digitized operation. 27th of April, we have digitized organization as the main topic. And on 24th May, we want to have sort of a bigger and physical event titled Implementation of Exponential Organization. So remember the days, 5th April, 27th April, and 24th May. We have 3 more follow-up sessions from the Digital Excellence Award and Digital Leaders Conclave. With that being said, I would like to thank all our panelists and speakers this morning for speaking to us and presenting your cases as well. Thank you to everyone who registered. Once again, we had a very exciting number of participants who had registered. Some of you had messaged me and emailed me saying that you're unable to take part today, and for us to share the recording. The recording of this session will be on the FITIS YouTube channel by tomorrow evening, right? So a lot to look forward to. Thank you once again for being a part of this session. Until we meet again, take care, stay safe. God bless you all.